going on, guys? Welcome back to part 2 of my very first reloader video. And in this video, some of what we're going to be doing is beveling. Now I will be beveling with this beveler here. This is from the 60s and it was discontinued. Again, I saw a Canuck belt video and this is the one that he uses, so I figured I would check eBay, and lo and behold, I found one. This is the B970 beveler from Colin Cook is the Canuck belts guy, and he's the one that says that he uses this, so I figured I was going to go ahead and try my luck and hopefully find one, and I did. So I'm not doing very well here with the beveling. It's coming out pretty rough. My lines are not straight. It doesn't look that good. On this side here, on the right side of the strap or left side of the strap, I beveled one way, so I beveled like this all the way down, and then I turned it around and beveled like that, and then I did it one more time and beveled that way again. So that's what I did on this side. You can see those lines there, not the prettiest. And then on the left side over here, I only went one way so far. As you can see, it's not as deep yet, but I'm still learning. Not the best here. The lines aren't straight, like I said, but we're gonna go ahead and continue beveling, and hopefully as I get better at this, my lines will become more straight. Let's get to it. One other thing, when you are beveling, you want to make sure you wet the back of the strap. You don't have to wet the front, but wet the back. You definitely want to make sure that back is wet so that the etching or the beveling is deeper in the leather. I'm going to go ahead and wet the back of the strap here. I'll start off at the top. And let's go ahead and bevel. Okay, so after a little bit of testing, I've realized that if I just bevel one way using the larger side rather than the smaller side, so if I bevel one way, going like this, towards me that way, then if I flip it over and bevel the other way, going outwards, beveling the opposite side, it creates a V pattern, and that makes the effect much better, I think. It looks a lot better here at the top. I'm not sure if you guys can really see that. But I think doing it that way, rather than going the big side like that, and then the small side going back, and then the big side again, that's what I originally did, and I don't think that worked very well. So instead what I'm doing now is using the big side on this side here, and I flip the strap over and then use the big side going the opposite way to create a V effect. I think it looks much better there, much more noticeable. After consulting another belt maker, I decided to change the way I beveled the outer portion of this strap here. So what I did end up doing was I did wet the front and the back. I just dampened the front a little bit. It wasn't like soaking wet. I just dampened it a little bit, and then I put even more water on the back of the strap. And as you can see, it's much darker. The impression is darker and it looks bruised there. On top rather than on the bottom, it doesn't look as dark or as defined. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm gonna end up doing it that way around the entirety of this strap. One thing I forgot to mention is after I wet the front of the strap, I let it sit and dry for about 5 minutes. It doesn't get completely dry, but just enough so that the leather isn't like smushy. So wait for 5 minutes after wetting the front of the strap, and then go ahead and do your beveling. You can see there, the outline is much more defined. Looks a lot better now that I wet the front of the strap. You can feel the difference as well. So much better that way. Just dampen the front of the strap where you're going to bevel, and then dampen the back as well, or add a little bit of extra water to the back too if you want. And here I also added where the snap box is going to be, so I did the outlines for that. That was a bit of a pain trying to figure out just how to measure the snap box outline correctly, but eventually I got it down. What I ended up doing was just tracing the snap box that was on the Jcfigz strap, and then I used the tracing to put the measurements on this strap. Of course, this strap, because I traced the Jcfigz strap, so this strap is not exactly the same measurements as the Jcfigz version, so I just had to do these angles a little bit longer than what they would have been, just maybe by like a couple centimeters longer than what they would have been on the Jcfigz version. So I'm going to go ahead and bevel these snap box lines. Okay, so there you go. I beveled the outline portion of this side of the snap box one way, and I'm going to do it again the opposite way to create that V effect like I talked about earlier. And I still have to use this swivel or spoon, whatever it's called, to dig into the leather strap here, so that way it's easier to bevel. So right here you can see I just drew it with a pencil, and I'm going to dig into it with this using a ruler to make sure the lines are straight, and then I'll have a crease in the leather to bevel. here's the template I mentioned previously that my wife made. So she basically just copied this from the snap box on the Jcfigz ink strap. She just put a lined up paper with the outline of that snap box, and then she just measured it that way and taped these little pieces of paper together. Then you just copy it right onto our strap here. And then voila, you got your snap box outline. It's taken me a while to figure out how to get the exact measurements, even though I don't need the exact measurements. So this was a slightly easier way of doing it manually and just measuring everything out. So check this out here. Looks a lot better now on the outside of the snap boxes. What I did was I wet the front and the back of the leather, and then I just pounded the shit out of the bevel. I kept the bevel straight on here. I just hit it really hard. So what I was doing before is I had it kind of tilted this way, but then if I straighten it out like this, then it makes this really nice impression. I like the way this looks a lot better. Yeah, I think this came out much better. So next time on the outer portion of the belt, I'll probably do the same thing, keep the bevel straight. Because what I did on here was I had it tilted like this. And I think that kind of made the lines uneven. So next time I'm gonna keep the bevel straight. And hopefully that will help with the uneven lines. And then next time I'm also gonna make sure that I clean up the outside of the strap here first. Just like get some sandpaper and sand it down. Just because when I was doing the line with this spool going around, because there was some residue left over on the outside of the strap, it kind of made my lines not exactly straight. And it would get snagged on some of these parts here, like this corner, it would get caught there. So next time I'll definitely end up sanding the outside first before I spool the outer line around this belt. So I'm learning as I go, but I think the snap box looks pretty darn good. So now what I'm gonna do is, I don't have a whole lot of stamps, so I'm probably just gonna use this one and just put this design all over the inside of the snap box. And then the fun part, we'll have to figure out where the snaps go on each end of the strap. And just hopefully it works out and they line up perfectly and they'll be able to snap together. But that's where we're at right now. I just got done stamping the right side snap box. So that's how it came out. Looks pretty decent, I think. Like I said before, this is the stamp I used. I don't have a whole lot of stamps yet. This is the one that came in that kit from Amazon, so I decided to just use that in the snap boxes. So what I did was I went all the way around in one direction, like so, all the way around the border. And then in the center, I just placed it randomly all throughout. And now we're gonna go ahead and do the other side. came out decent. You see some discoloration at the top and bottom. It's because there's still a little bit of water there, so it's not completely dry yet. But there it is, the snap boxes, the tooling there, and the stamping is done. I might go over it one more time, because there are some spots that are not as dark as others. So maybe I will go over it again, I'm not sure yet. But now I have to put the Seashell texturing on around the entire outline of the strap, so all around here, all the way around the belt, up to where the snap boxes start. So the Seashell texturing will end about right here. And usually on the big gold belts, there is like a floral pattern design here, but unfortunately I don't have any floral patterns stamps to put on the outside of the snap boxes. So I might just leave that blank out there, and I might just have the Seashell texturing go up to here. That's what I'm thinking I'm gonna do. So that's what's next. I just finished the Seashell texturing on the strap, as you can see here. Definitely not the best job, guys. So I started with the top part up here, and you can see where I kind of messed up. It's not that clear, and I made the spacing in between each seashell pattern a little bit too wide, so the spacing was too much. So what I tried to do was make the impression thicker, but obviously that did not work. So now it just looks all messed up here. But then I continued on and I closed up the spacing, and I think that looks a lot better. But again, this is pretty much just a first test strap, something I'll always remember and I can learn by. And as you can see, as the Seashell texturing goes on throughout the strap, it looks much better. And the impression is much deeper and noticeable. So not too bad for my first time trying the Seashell texturing. And that's gonna do it for this part 2 of the re-leather. In the next video, for part 3, I'm gonna do the snap boxes, putting the holes in the snap boxes, putting holes for the side plates and the main plate as well. And then I'll probably put the snap boxes in, or the snaps in too. And maybe if there's enough time in part 3, I will do the black dye as well. But we'll see how long it takes. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Until next time.